Welcome, YouTube. How's it going? Intuitive Edge here, coming to you from beautiful Washington State. Up here visiting. It's just lovely. And I'm outside, as you can probably hear the noises. Let's get started. What I'd like to talk about today is North Korea. Now, we know that they've been in the news quite a bit. There's been a lot going on with them. And we know that, their regime has been around. What I'd like to do is look at them from the current history, from the Korean War all the way forward. So kind of what's been happening in the regime and what's going to be happening. What I'd like to do is I'd like to check in and ask the cards here. We're going to look at kind of where they've been, what kind of regime, their past, what they've been, and what kind of help is coming in, what's coming in with them, and then what's going to happen, where are we going to go from here. So let's get started. I've got the cards all shuffled up, so and I cut the deck, so now we're just going to see what we've got. So all right. Okay, interesting. So in the past, so basically what this regime has been, that's, aces are all about beginnings. So it started out as kind of, there's a lot of, when you've got the Ace of Wands, this is a pretty forceful energy. It's a creative energy, a lot of power with it. And so it seems like they started out as a show of strength, a show of power, bringing together a common vision as to what they wanted to bring to the world and how they wanted to rule. So the help that this is what I've asked for in terms of what help is coming. And immediately when I look at this card, what comes to me is that it feels like there's a little bit of like a house of cards. It feels like there's that the regime itself is built like what they portray to the world and who they really are. It's like a house of cards. It doesn't feel like they are as strong as what they portray themselves to be. And so you've got the Ten of Cups. This is actually a really positive card, but what's interesting intuitively when I see that, I just see that as those cups teetering on one little tiny cup at the bottom, and it just feels like, one little wrong move and the whole thing could fall apart. It doesn't feel like it's got the strength that they portray themselves to have. And it feels to me that other nations around them know this, like South Korea, China even. I feel like those nations know a little more directly kind of what North Korea is about, and I don't feel like they I do feel like they know what they're about. The other nations around North Korea know what North Korea is about, and they know that it's not the strong, militarily speaking, or strong, committed nation that they like to portray themselves to be. It feels like a big kind of like a house of cards, as I mentioned, kind of a charades type of feeling. This is like, okay, so this is what we have coming up. When we look at the Seven of Cups, this is a card of like choices, like almost too many choices, too numerous. So to me, what feels like when I look at, okay, what's coming up for North Korea, it feels like there's so many things that are not decided yet because of the nature of the Seven of Cups being, it could be any one of a number of choices. It depends on, what other people choose. What actions are going to happen is going to depend largely on what actions people take today and tomorrow and the next day. So nothing is like set in stone. It feels very fluid. So we could see some changes, but it's going to depend what those changes are, how drastic and how severe is just going to depend on the players involved. And that includes the nations around and possibly even the United States, because, you know, we never know what wars we might be embroiled in. Hopefully none, but you never know. All right. Okay, so we're going to throw out some more cards here. So again, we're looking at who they are, what help is coming, and what's going to be happening in the future. So when I see the Nine of Wands, this is the card. This is a card, I like to call this card the hurry up and wait card. But when I look at this card, I see those wands in the back, and to me it looks like a fence. And the feeling is that of being fenced off and isolated, and it feels very much like that, you know, this person here is looking to the fence and feeling very isolated and very cut off. And we know that that has been a hallmark of this regime ever since North Korea was cut off. Basically, they cut themselves off. They isolated themselves. Families were torn apart. Relatives, you know, were never able to see each other again. It's kind of a sad situation all the way around. But that's the whole feeling of being fenced off, being cordoned off, basically being imprisoned in a very real sense, very literal sense. Now the help coming in, this is interesting because you've got a king here. Again, it did show up upside down, but I'll turn it so you guys can see the card. Kings are literally, they can mean heads of state and kings. And I think in this case it does, because it's coming in the position of the help card. Now, the fact that it's reversed, I want to say that if it is a king coming in, like say, for instance, just throwing this out there, hypothetically, if China came in and wanted to, you know, force North Korea into some sort of negotiation of some kind, what's interesting about that, when it's reversed, is that, sorry, I had to get a drink of water. North Korea is not going to like it. It feels like, you know, if they might be forced to come to the table to negotiate something, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be something that they want. This feels like another head of state, like a China or Japan or South Korea, or somebody forcing North Korea, some sort of negotiation. I don't know, but or it could be a military intervention that North Korea doesn't like or doesn't want. But there's like a strong kingly figure, excuse me, and it doesn't feel like it's something that North Korea is going to want. When I look at the next card, that is in the position of what's coming. And anytime I see a page, pages are messengers. So as a messenger, this is saying, pay attention, there is something coming. And this is in the position of what's coming. This is telling us, pay attention, there's a message coming. I'm going to pull up the next 3 cards, and we're going to take a look at these as well and see what they say. So in the position of the past, now this is interesting because this is another 9. This is the 9 of Swords this time. This is the worry card. This is the stress card. This is worry, sadness, what keeps you up at night. And the card before it was a 9 also. And what's interesting about that, you've got 2 9s. So you had the first card that felt very isolated, very walled off, very fenced off. And this next 9 is all about mental anguish and sadness and feeling very disconnected emotionally and mentally taxed. The next card you've got Pan. Now in the traditional tarot deck, Pan would be the devil card. In this tarot deck, he is the mischievous nature spirit, the trickster. The fact that it's reversed, coming on the heels of a king or some sort of kingly intervention of some sort being reversed, with the Pan being reversed, you know, this is a card about being materially minded. And when it's reversed, again, it depends on how you want to interpret these. But what I feel with this is that this is a card of survival. It's being rooted in the survival instincts. This is not a card of like the higher mind of creativity and consciousness and spiritual insight. This is a card of your base instincts, very base. And when it's reversed, it's talking a lot about being connected with survival. And so I think that, if whatever this other king, say some other country comes in and says, North Korea, you have to sit down and you have to have these negotiations. I'm just using this as a hypothetical. That would be seen as something that, for one, North Korea wouldn't like it. And number two, they would feel like they have to fight for their survival. Now, I'm not into, I can't predict, I'm not into predicting world events. I'm just saying what I feel like the cards are saying. And if this is more of a skirmish, like say another country does come in and attack them, it would make them feel like we have to fight to survive. It's for our very survival. That's the feeling I get. Okay. Next we have the Three of Swords. This is a card. I'll pull this up here so you can see it. So, this is a card of like breakup and sadness. And, so when you see the three, so this is a card of, breakup and sadness. Sorry, I might have a little bit of interruption here. Hold on just a second. So what I see with this, in the position of what's coming, and again, you see the dark clouds on the horizon also. It's like dark clouds kind of surrounding it. Being with a message, it feels like there's going to be some sort of breakup. Could be a breakup of the regime. It could be some sort of breakup of some kind. Not sure exactly. But, and when I look at this card too, I don't think it's just going to be one. It might be like a coalition. It doesn't feel like it's just going to be one regime coming, and if there is, it'll be a coalition. It'll be two, at least. And again, I mean, who knows, We've got the Tower card last. And this is the card of destruction, cataclysm, apocalypse, destitution, redoing everything, throwing things out, starting over. And, maybe this will be an opportunity for the North Korean regime to start over. Maybe this will be maybe this will be a literal change of the guard, change of the regime, but this is a card of just really destruction. So I would tend to think that they may be faced with, either you negotiate or you might face military reprisal. I don't know. That's just a guess, but that's what it feels like. So that's all for now. I'm gonna let this one go. Again, I could say more on it, but maybe I'll do a follow-up video to this one. I'm gonna let you go. Love you guys. Hope you take care. And this is Intuitive Edge signing off. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.